All right, good afternoon. Uh, Excited to get back on the field today. Guys did a great job. Went out there very long, but got a good lift in and followed a normal Monday routine. So good to get our guys back. Got the majority of our guys back with us at this point. Still working on a final few to get squared away in the next couple of days. But good focus, good effort, and good attention to detail. Wanted to also congratulate Ty Freifogel and Micah McFadden on being named to the AP All-American team. Today just came out a little bit ago. It's a tremendous honor for those two young men and for our program. So excited for them and just continue to be recognized for what this team has accomplished and what we continue to do together. So proud of those guys. Questions?
All right, John, then Zach.
Just to get kind of like a procedural kind of idea of what you guys are doing. When do you guys leave? Like, how long will you actually stay, I guess, down in Tampa? What will you do down there? And how, I guess, unique of a challenge is this compared to normal road games? I guess, is it kind of identical to what you normally do, or is it going to be a little different?
It'll be a little different. You know, it's not the same as a normal bowl week. Usually you're down there longer. We're going to leave on Wednesday afternoon. We'll practice here. So we'll get a normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice in on campus. And then we will break the practice film down, meet with our guys, and then depart for Indianapolis at about 3 o'clock on Wednesday. And then we'll fly down to Tampa, get in there Wednesday night. And then we'll practice on Thursday at the bowl site practice that they have for each team. And then do our walkthrough on Friday, go over to the stadium and take our pictures and stuff like that you do in the mornings. So there's no bowl activities, you know, like usually you have the activities with the other team and different things you do in the community and different things, you know, per whatever the location is. But we'll have a special thing on Thursday night there at the hotel, kind of like a taste of Florida type deal for the players that we're going to put on for them so they can enjoy the Florida food that many of our guys really like from down there. So that'll be fun, and just things that are kind of around the hotel. So because of COVID, you know, you won't have the, you know, events or go to any amusement parks or anything like that, or go to the beach or things you usually do on a game that's, you know, at this location. So, but still get a chance to go down there a couple of days early. So it's not like a true road game. We'll go down, like I said, on Wednesday. Usually don't go down until Friday. So a couple of days before normal, and have a Thursday practice down there at a high school facility. So looking forward to that part. I know our kids are excited to get on that plane and head south.
All right, Zach, and Kevin Brockway.
Tom, I guess, I mean, we asked about him obviously a lot in the build-up to Wisconsin. I don't know how much we've asked about him since, but how have you seen Jack maybe handle just all of this? He gets the one game under his belt, and I imagine probably feels pretty good about it, and then he comes out of it and everything gets shut down. Just what do you think he's been able, I guess, to accomplish even through the shutdown here in these last few weeks as you build toward the bowl?
Yeah, I think that, you know, first of all, it was great to have that game where he was the starter, had the chance to prepare for that all week long. You know, obviously came in the previous game against Maryland and played well in a impromptu situation there. But I think it was very beneficial for his confidence and just the experience of having that game under his belt. But then obviously, as you mentioned, you have the delay and the two cancellations, and then you know, chance now to use the extra week for bowl prep. So you know, it's been good. You know, I think that you'd like to have, obviously the more you play, the better it is. But can't control any of that and can't change any of that stuff that happened in the past. So, but I do think that you could just see, you know, just a more higher level confidence. He's always throws the ball well, but just I think just as he's, you know, being in that role and being the guy and you know, I think it's always a great thing to be able to have, you know, your last experience of playing and being the starter like it was there up in Wisconsin, and the way that we played and were able to finish out that game and get a big road win, you know, against a ranked opponent. So it was huge for him, huge for his confidence, and I think that he'll carry that into the bowl game.
All right, Kevin, then Peegs.
Hey, Coach, I know at the end of last week you said you were hoping to get back to, you know, full squad by today. Are you there in terms of the COVID numbers? And then also, you know, just not playing since December 5th. I know, you know, it was kind of a tough stretch, 7 weeks in a row. But now is there kind of a flip side, maybe concerned about sharpness and getting back after having that long of a layoff?
Oh, I think you would. Anytime you have that much of a time period, where you don't play, there's no question. When you went 7 straight weeks, no bye weeks, no breaks, no anything. 7 straight Big Ten games was challenging physically and mentally. So the mental break was a blessing. Didn't want under those circumstances and everything. But when you look back on it, you had a chance to get some guys healed up. But then having all those guys that tested positive, so then they've been out for all that time. So yeah, the challenge now is to get back and have a great week of practice. As we've said, we tried to get the whole group's not back yet. We're getting closer. We may have them all back tomorrow. We don't know yet, but definitely getting closer to that. You'd like to obviously get them all back at least by Wednesday, so they can have a chance to get a full padded practice in, before we head out of here. So, but ideally, you get them back tomorrow, and you got 2 practices in pad. So, bottom line is that that's still yet to be determined, but definitely have a lot more guys back than we had before, able to practice now and have the numbers to be able to get the proper look. So that's been the challenge, and yeah, we just got to stay sharp, that's why we've done some ones versus ones, even last week, to try and keep our guys sharp, going against each other and not doing as much scout work. So just trying to simulate game situations and keep our guys, focused and locked in for that. So yeah, I think anytime you had a delay, you're just always concerned about it. But once again, just like anything else, as this year has shown, we just have to adapt and find creative ways to keep our guys ready to play, so that when we do play on January 2nd, we're at our best.
All right, Peaks and Jim Coyle.
Hey, Coach, do you feel a little bit better about, I think you had your players stay home stay in Bloomington over the Christmas after seeing some of the problems that, Missouri and some of these other teams have had when they let their players go home?
Absolutely. I mean, we followed the advice of our medical professionals, and they were adamant about it, and I agreed, and our players understood as well. Even though it's tough, we'd love to be able to have everybody go home for Christmas. It's the first time we've not been able to do that, but I just think that just the thought of having guys go get on a plane and go, wherever they're from and spend a few days there and then have to travel back, and all that exposure to all the different individuals along the way just creates a lot of potential issues, so went ahead and came back, tested yesterday, tested today. And so continue to be good signs of the trajectory of our team's health. So, that's, tough decision to make for sure. And I know our guys had to make a big sacrifice for that, but it's kind of been indicative of this whole experience this whole fall. So these guys have been awesome and continue to just to me show so much character and just so much discipline, and it's been hard for sure. And I'm just so proud of them. And I think it was the right thing to do, even though it was a tough thing to do.
All right, Jim, then Sammy.
Coach, getting back to game prep, this is kind of an unusual situation for me. It's kind of, you're in the middle of the week, you're coming back where the guys are coming back. And knowing how important this game is to you, getting that prep in the way you want it, how comfortable are you going once you're up to game time?
Well, I think you always feel like, man, if we just had a little more time, but we're trying to maximize it, and you don't want to get, you don't start too early on an opponent. You don't want to get stale. We've been in these situations several times in the past, and just trying to create a different outcome, for us here. And the last couple of times we played in bowl games here, since I've been head coach. And so I feel good about where we are. I guess you never know for sure until you go out and start playing the game. But to be able to go through and now get into the normal week, which really starts tomorrow, in regards to we don't really do as much usually on a Monday. We did a little more today just because of not playing this past Saturday. And so, but I look at it as a normal Tuesday coming up here, and a normal Wednesday, and then a normal Thursday down there, as far as what we would usually do. And then you get your walkthrough and everything we do on Friday. So I feel good about where we are. We need to have a great week. I mean, we got to have a high level of attention to detail, great focus, and we got to have our, as I challenge our guys today as we left the field, we need to have our best Tuesday. Tomorrow we need to have our best Wednesday on Wednesday. So that's the mindset, and our guys have bought into that, and they've worked hard, they've trained well, they've just got to keep preparing. We just say our big saying around this place, we just coach till kickoff. And that's just that mindset that no matter what's going on, we just keep preparing. That's just what we do.
All right, Sammy, then Rick Bozich.
Good afternoon, Coach. a lot of team awards, Coach of the Year, Broyles Awards, All-Americans, all Big Tens. How important is that to the exposure of your program and for recruiting? And then a second question off of that, with visits not happening in 2020, how great of a job did the IU video crew and the media part of that do to take people inside of your locker room, on the sidelines during games? How important was that to the future of your program and recruiting?
Well, I don't know if you can put a price tag on that. I think their value is huge, and I'm so appreciative of the job that they've done, because I think, like you said, when you can't be there in person, like they couldn't be this year, their job's always important. It's all about perception. You got a certain way that people view your program based on what they see on social media. And so that's always been a big emphasis for myself since I've got here. And we got a great, just a great staff of video personnel that we beefed up since I've been here, and guys just doing a great job. And just, man, it's just to capture, the moment, and to be able to let a recruit and a recruit's family just to feel what it's like in that locker room and the sideline and just the emotion, of this great game and how this team is connected, and the relationships that reveal themselves in those moments, So I just think that to be able to capture that, on social media with video and even just all the different ways of presenting it is just huge. So I just appreciate them so much, and they do a great job. And I think that that's part of, this new era of being able to, virtually simulate, what it's like to be at Indiana, and because obviously, we still don't have guys on campus and don't know when that's going to happen. And even this bowl experience and everything we're doing at practice and everything we do down there and pre and post game is critical. So yeah, I think those are all things that matter. And I think that, that's what we're trying to be able to do here is just show people who we are. And, be very upfront and honest, be very genuine about this is who we are at Indiana. So this is what you're looking for, and this fits you, and this matches what you care about and what you value as both a person, the individual player, and then his family. I think that's what draws people here and allows them to be able to say, hey, I want to be a part of that. And that to me that's why their role is huge, and I really appreciate it.
All right, Rick and then Tom Brew.
Yeah, Tom, usually over the course of a season in any sport, teams come out flat or uninspired, and you guys didn't do that all year. What do you credit that to be able to play at a high level every game?
Well, we work really hard. I learned a long time ago from, Dick Dullahan always talked about creating consistent performance. And that was the goal. And that was the key to being, a successful program, and not just being a team that plays good at times, and consistency in your behavior, consistency in you as a person. We talk about that a lot. I want to model that. I want to be consistent in the way I live my life, the way I lead, the way we do what we do. And so we don't have the ups and downs. And that's a struggle. It's hard. I mean, there's only so many emotional responses you have within you as an individual. And so that's where it gets hard, to do it week after week after week, especially when you have a big win and then you have a letdown, oftentimes, or just whatever reason, you don't have that same energy. And man, I just know that for me, it's been, I think to maybe explain it is that's definitely a point of emphasis for us without question. I believe in that. I strive for that, to try to lead that way, to bring that energy every single day. And when you sense a letdown, and you kind of know how to, approach it a certain way, where and just get the right buttons pushed, whether it's with coaches or with players, to motivate them when there's a natural tendency to let up, and so, and then I think it's the maturity of our team. I think we have a lot of guys that play a lot of football here. And even though we don't have a big senior class, a lot of these guys that are juniors and redshirt sophomores and that have been here 2 or 3 years, a lot of those guys played, several years, since they've been here. And that, I think that helps, guys understand, when you have a chance to get such a big win like we had, against Penn State, you got to turn around and you got to go on the road and play which we saw was a very improved Rutgers team. And have, had a history of going there and not necessarily playing our best football, and you could go down the line week after week after week, those different circumstances and situations. So I think it's the maturity of our team helps. And I just think the buy-in of our guys, I just think that they this group of guys believes what we tell them. and they respond a certain way. I mean, we have words that we emphasize each week that are really picked for a specific purpose to emphasize whatever it is we need to emphasize that week. And sometimes it's geared around that. When you are worried about a letdown or some type of emotional lack of energy that you may naturally have per the course of the season. So I think those are things we're trying to do, and some teams respond better than others, and this group has responded extremely well to those things and had played. But we got to do it again. We're back at it, and we've been off, and we've talked about it even here today, and the expectation is that we got to have And matter of fact, so this is cool because just as we're talking here, I was talking to our team this morning, and I always try to get them to give me their feedback. And I said, okay, how do we, play at a high level and be able to, play our best football on Saturday? And I said, you guys tell me. I'm not going to tell you. You tell me what that looks like. And one of the answers was, we've got to keep preparing to consistently do things the right way. And I use that word consistent, and that was, so I got a chance to talk about that. And then we talked about after practice. I said, this is what you guys just said is what we got to do. And the attention to detail, and just that focus. So I just think that when you hear it from them and they're saying that, they recognize that. I didn't have to say it myself. They know that's how you want to be a great, football player. You want to be great in this life. You got to learn to be consistent in your habits and the things that you do on a daily basis. And these guys they're buying into that, and they realize that that's how you do create a certain level of performance. And so that's the expectation. But you got to recreate every week. And when you think that you've got it figured out, you're probably going to set yourself up for some disappointment. So we always got to keep that edge about us as the coaches and keep that edge with our players.
All right, Tom, and then Stefan.
Tom, we've talked so much about how you've built this program and improved it over the course of these 4 years. But when you evaluate yourself as a head coach, what are you better at now than you were 4 years ago?
Oh, I think delegating and just trusting your coaches, to be able to do more things. And so I can be, more effective probably at the things that I need to be focusing on instead of trying to do too many things myself. I think that's probably been the biggest thing, relinquishing the play calling duties defensively. Having, a guy like Mike Hart now as associate head coach that really does a lot of things to help me as a head coach. And I give him a lot of those, just the freedom to help me with those things and get, hey, these are the things I need done, and don't do them for him or do them with him, let him do them. And then we talk about them. And the same way with, all three phases, with three coordinators. So I think that's probably something that's really helped. And then I think just the game itself, more comfort with, anticipation of things that are going to happen during the game. That's something I feel you feel more comfortable with and you grow with, as a head coach, and you learn to handle a situation. I think also just learning how to, anticipate, things that could happen with your team and how to keep the team in the right mindset, amidst the good and the bad that you're going to naturally experience, so those things kind of come to mind, but I think you all, just like anything else, the more you do something, you get better at it. If you're willing to, honestly evaluate yourself and recognize that you have things you got to keep getting better at, and you listen to your coaches and you let them tell you things that you need to keep getting better at. I think those are things you got to do too. And I think that's, we all got to, have that coachability to ourselves. And that goes for me too.
All right, Stefan, then Paul Gable.
Hey, Tom, we talked about it maybe a lot more in the spring than we did throughout, the season now, but the taste of last year's Gator Bowl, how that ended. I mean, with a lot of your roster having played in that game, how much is that something that you guys kind of still use as motivation going into this one?
Oh, I think it's a lot. I choose not to forget about things like that, in a positive way. That's where when you talk about earmuffs and blinders, it doesn't mean we're deaf and blind. You filter. Those things are filters, and there's things from that game that I don't want us to ever forget. Just the way you finish out a game, and whatever it is, it's all three phases, because all three phases were affected in that game. And so to me, even this week, about the way that we're approaching things, those things are, brought up in the right way at the right time, for the right purpose, to be able to use them as teaching and fuel and reminders about what happens when you don't finish, and sometimes those things are, due to the opponent, and sometimes those are self-inflicted things, so, but to me, that's, once again, it's that experience, it's that growth, it's that, learning from the past, and letting those experiences be, game changers for your future and not things that continue to, haunt you from the past.
All right, Paul, and then Leo Haggerty.
Hey, Coach. A lot's been made about your time in Tampa, and how did you wind up down there? And then talk a little bit about Jonathan King and what he means to your program and all that he's been through in his life.
Yeah. Well, first of all, how did I end up there? My wife and I, we were in college, and I sent out about 65 resumes and cover letters to schools, high schools that were in mostly Florida, Georgia, and up in the Carolinas. That was the area we wanted to go and live and teach and coach in, and tried to find a situation where we both could find a teaching job and a coaching job, and one that had football, and wrestling. That was the two sports I coached right out of college. I was a head wrestling coach at Temple Heights my first year, and assistant football coach. My wife was head volleyball coach and assistant softball coach. So we sent out all these resumes, and we had two schools of all those places that had a job opening for both of us. And they actually flew us down and interviewed us at Temple Heights. And just through that was kind of how it all worked out. We had one of them in Miami and one of them in Tampa. That were the two schools of all those letters we sent out that had an opportunity for both of us to teach in areas and coach in areas that we wanted to coach in and teach in. So that's how we got started down there. And matter of fact, Mike Doig, my DFO here, he and his wife Wendy, they taught and coached with us at that same school. And some of our best friends to this day we met and coached with and taught with down there at that school. So that's how we got there. And then I was there for 5 years. I was at Temple Heights for 3 years and Armwood High School for my last 2. And then went back as defensive coordinator in 2015 when Willie Taggart hired me as defensive coordinator there at University of South Florida. I went from Ole Miss to there to be a DC. I wanted to be a DC at Division I level. So appreciate Coach Taggart hiring me in my first Division I job as a coordinator, a defensive coordinator. So that's how we ended up back there. And that second time we, lived in the Plant District there in Thomas. Our son played at Plant, and my daughter Brittany went to Plant High School as well. So, and then John King. So how about this? So John King, we're down there recruiting Michael Penix, and at the time John King was committed to Oregon. And so I'll never forget, I'm walking, through the school. We knew about John, but he was already committed there, planning on going out, out west. And so it was a contact period, so you could talk to the players. And so we just happened to be, I was going down the hall, and he came up and introduced himself to me. We talked, and just kind of said, we obviously were going after Michael hard, and got to know him, and just thought what a great heart, just what a great person. Got to know his story. I got to know the tragedy he'd gone through with losing his mom not that long, before that, and just suddenly and the struggles, and just all that creates and all the difficulties. And he's got 2 siblings that have physical challenges that have had them their whole lives. And just to be able to have to deal with all the different things he's had to deal with, and got to know his dad and he's a kid that I love John King. He's just a great kid. And he's come here, and he's figured things out. And he's made mistakes, but man, he's growing up right in front of our eyes. And just to see him play well right now, I know the mom would be so proud of him. So it's pretty cool. Pretty neat story, really. He's a great one. And he's only going to get better if he just keeps doing what we ask him to do and keeps learning and growing. So special guy.
Coach Leo Haggerty in Tampa. Normally you'd be down here with your team enjoying the 80-degree weather that we have down here. How hard is it to convince your players that this is a reward because of all the bells and whistles and hoops you have to jump through just to play the game?
Yeah, I think that's just the reality of what we're dealing with. And I think you see how teams have made decisions about not playing. And some felt like it wasn't worth it, for different reasons. But it's a special group of guys, and we had some good family talks, about this. And I wanted them to want to go, and they do, and we did, and we talked it through as a family, and let them decide. And once that decision was made, it was no turning back, and just awesome mindset and buy-in. But yeah, I mean, you wish you could go down there, but the whole year's been that way. I mean, it's just like, nothing has felt normal with this year. I mean, we were actually talking about, we had the big Christmas dinner with our guys, and just how few times that we've had our team together outside of practice throughout, since, they came back to campus over the summer, because everything has been so segmented for so many times. And just, you could just count on one, just so few opportunities where we've been together, and it's no different for this. So I just think it's like anything else. I mean, our guys have made a decision, and they know it's not going to be quite the same, but it's still a tremendous opportunity. And this is a bowl game that I've always had circled. I've always wanted to take a team down from Indiana to the Outback Bowl because of the location, the teams that have played in that bowl game in the past. It's always, the Big Ten teams have gone down there. And when I was down there coaching, go to the game and go to different activities with the game, and watch the teams practice and just different. I remember going to even the breakfast that they had for all the area coaches, with the teams that were there. So just things that, for me personally, and to have the opportunity to go to this bowl game is an awesome thing for our program. So, we look at it as a super, super positive thing for us. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Not there's as many days for sure, but we're still there a couple more days than normal. So we're going to just, we're not going to be distracted by what we don't have. We're going to focus on what we do have and focus on the great opportunity this bowl game presents for our program and the opportunity that these guys have been given. And they're fired up to be going, and they can't wait to get on that plane on Wednesday, I know, to head down south.
All right, John Blau, last one.
You were talking about Hayden Whitehead, I don't know if it was a week or two, just that he's really, really hard on himself. You had to work on that with him. What would be a situation where Hayden would be really, really hard on himself? And I guess it's just kind of a joke, but obviously it's the Outback Bowl and you got a punter from Australia. Has anybody made a joke about that yet? Or
Yeah, well, not either I've heard, but I'm sure they have behind the scenes, because these guys are pretty witty about all that kind of stuff. But yeah, well, here's the thing: if he doesn't punt, if he misses one punt in practice, I mean, the dude will stay afterwards and kick for like the next 2 hours. I'm like, Hayden, your leg cannot do that. I mean, you've got to stop. If you miss a kick, hey, flush it, move on. 1-0 mindset, don't blink. But man, he just beats himself. He's gotten better, but I mean, he would just go out there and kick and kick and kick, and I'd say, Casey, go get him off the field. His leg's going to fall off. So, just that. He just so wants it so bad and wants to do everything right. He's a perfectionist, and that's a good quality, but it's also can be, we all know that can be a tough thing, because those guys just kind of, you got to learn to let some of that stuff go, and some guys you wish were more, the other direction, but he definitely is hard on himself. And it's because you can't let that, whatever you miss, to affect the next one. That was kind of the big thing being with, hey, you got to let that go now. I mean, just you could just kind of tell. He would just kind of, even emotionally, you could just tell that by body language that he was frustrated. And we tried to work through that in the beginning. And he's gotten a lot better with that. But he's still, I mean, even, he's always out there kicking. So I just think that he's just one of those guys that, you want guys like that. You want guys that care so much about their responsibility that they have on this team. And as a punter, and even though he's only going to get so many snaps a game, those snaps are critical, and he's a big part of our team.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Have a great day, Elio.